What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Processing Blue, where we process blue for you. I'm Alex Zietlow, a Carolina Panthers beat reporter for the Charlotte Observer. And with me today is Scott Fowler, the Observer's indelible sports columnist. Scott, word to Bryce Young in the huddle before he leads a fourth quarter game-winning drive. Where else would you rather be?
Oh, absolutely nowhere, Alex.
Well, that's good because you'll be here a lot over the next few months. We should probably kick off the podcast with a programming note of our own. Friday marked the last day at the Charlotte Observer for our beloved colleague, Mike Kaye. He started at ESPN on Monday. Yes, that means Mike will no longer be part of Processing Blue. He helped build this, and we wish him the best, Scott.
We do, and he's only moving basically one seat down in the press room, so it's good we'll get to see him every day. And we've gotten a lot of questions today as this news has been announced about whether Processing Blue continues, and that's a resounding yes is the answer to that. Same schedule, same. We're going to talk Panthers. We're going to add a few new twists to the thing. So, yes, please keep tuning in, but we do wish Mike the best.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, and we also have, I know we try not to start off every show with just a boatload of programming notes, but we do have one other exciting announcement to get off our chests. The Observer is hosting a really cool in-person event for subscribers on the evening of September 1 at the Ballantine Old Mecklenburg Brewery. So that's Ballantine OMB. Scott and I will talk a little bit of Panthers football. We'll be previewing the 2026 season. And then we'll have fan favorite wide receiver Jalen Coker there with us as well. And he'll be there in person. You know, you can talk shop with him. You can maybe do some autographs with him. Maybe I'm speaking out of school. Zach is kind of grimacing at me right now, but we will provide more details on that later. We'll have more information on that in the description of this episode on Spotify and on YouTube. We'll also be advertising on the website. If you're a subscriber, hop in on this. And if you're not a subscriber, consider purchasing a subscription soon. We're always running some kind of deal. And this sort of in-person event is exactly the sort of thing that we do for you, Scott. Like, it sounds good, right?
Oh, yeah. Jalen Coker in the house, and right on the eve of the Panthers opener, that's going to be a great event. So, again, Thursday evening, September 1st, more information to come.
Okay. Mike Kaye is at ESPN. Jalen Coker is coming to an Observer event. Scott, is that everything? Can we talk football now?
Yes, please.
All right, let's talk about it. Scott, I'm thinking for this first episode, we can talk a little bit of the Hall of Fame game, the Panthers' first preseason game of 2026. And then we can talk a little bit more about your trip to Canton, seeing Luke Kuechly enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And then we can head on out of here. You good with that?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, first, I'm going to test you with some trivia. And did you know that Thursday night, the Panthers' 33-30 win over the Cardinals marked the second highest scoring game in Hall of Fame game history? I see you rubbing your eyes and smirking.
It's celebrating together after
wins. It's like in that vacation movie where Chevy Chase wants to go see the second biggest
There's
ball
no way to measure what the
or
game
something.
of football has given
The
to me.
second
The joy it's
highest
provided.
scoring game. I cannot
Okay, it's
say.
still cool, though.
I knew that.
I mean,
that I've
it's
been
still
so
cool.
blessed to
Okay,
be
firstly,
around
I'm
as a result of
offended
this
because
game.
I tweeted it out after the game.
Okay. Sorry,
so-
I was a little bit busy. But yes.
I know you're busy, but I feel like that stat, I know you're making fun of it, but I feel like that also does speak to the game's excitement a little bit.
It was exciting.
Yeah, tell me about that excitement. Tell me about your first impressions of that game. It ends. What are you thinking?
Oh, it was great. I was down on the field at the end. The Hall of Fame does a great job with the media and allows you to kind of roam around a little more. Honestly, feels there like a great big high school stadium, a nice one. But there was only 18,000 people there, and they were very loud. And, it's just it is a really fun atmosphere. First time I'd been there in 31 years. I covered the original, very first Panthers game where they also won a Hall of Fame game over Jacksonville in 1995.
2-0.
2-0 in the Hall of Fame game. If they could only play Hall of Fame games, it'd be wonderful. But it was really, fun game. No one was playing first stringers. But nevertheless, these guys are all playing for jobs, and so they were playing hard, and it was loud, and of course, Kuechly and all the rest were there, and it was quite an atmosphere.
So I know that oftentimes this is some behind the scenes stuff, but when Scott is in the press box, oftentimes he's watching, and I'm talking at Bank of America Stadium, he is watching the game, obviously, but he's also keeping at least one ear and one eye on the studio broadcast just to see if something fun happens. Like if the commentators say something interesting, if there's like a stat tidbit that catches his attention or whatever. I don't think you saw or heard this, Scott, but did you hear Chris Collinsworth come very close to calling Carson Beck Patrick Mahomes?
Ooh,
did you see?
No,
Okay,
no, I wasn't listening to this one. I went with the full Canton experience.
Yeah.
No, no Mike Tirico in this one.
I mean, so it was so funny. Like Carson Beck threw like a sidearm pass, and obviously he was carving up the Panthers defense for a while, which we can talk about in a second. But like he's carving up the Panthers defense, and he throws like a little sidearm thing. And Chris Collinsworth was, I don't know, Mike. He really reminds me of, and Mike Tirico has to go like, dude, we are not doing that. We are not doing that right now. It was just, it was so funny. But so it was obviously a matchup of Carson Beck just obliterating the Panthers without compunction on one end. But on the other end, Haynes King had quite the day. And that was really the prevailing story. At least it felt like watching it at home. It felt like that was a prevailing story. Haynes King, 21 of 34 for 180 yards. Also 34 pass attempts. That's kind of wild.
That's a lot.
2 touchdown passes for a 95.2 passer rating. And then he added 3 carries for 39 yards and that game-winning touchdown as time expired. You compared him to Steve Berline. I just thought that was so funny. I was like, yo, Scott has got to find a way to compare it to Panthers plays. Yeah.
Yes. It was weird because they were on the 5-yard line just like Berline was. Of course, the play's just preseason, but the situation was almost exactly the same as really arguably one of the 3 or 4 most famous plays in Panthers history was Berline's draw in 1999. Now, this wasn't a draw, and we did not know at the time he messed up his hamstring on that very play. But at the time, it was just kind of pure, unadulterated joy in that stadium. Great scene post-game where, I mean, his teammates are just coming out like they just won a playoff game, just pounding him. He's, surrounded. He's on the ground. He says he can't breathe, and then he's interviewed. I mean, this is an undrafted rookie free agent. It's as good as it gets for preseason. Poor Haynes King to get hurt like that, right? In that very big moment. Shoot, that might be the only game he ever plays for the Panthers. You don't know. I hope not.
Well, so it's a perfect segue. This is what I wanted to get your opinion about. So he has this fantastic performance in the Hall of Fame game. Yes, it's against 3rd stringers, 4th stringers, people who will not play. Most players will not play on an active 53-man roster this coming season. And so that is an important contextual point to make. At the same time, Haynes King was undrafted, but if you really think about it, he probably graded out as a 4th-round pick, 5th-round pick, 6th-round pick, a day 3 pick. On top of that, you've heard great stuff coming from training camp about Haynes King, and he's dynamic, he's fast, he is also known for producing with his arm as well. Then on top of all that, you put on that kind of game on tape. If the Panthers cut him, I think, and yes, he has the hamstring injury, but I still think, notwithstanding, this point still stands. If the Panthers cut him and he has to go through waivers, I don't think he clears waivers. I think some sort of team is going to take a chance on him and sign him to their own 53-man roster come the season. I think that he did enough in this one game, throwing layered passes in the intermediate, the deep ball, and obviously in the short game. He was improvisational. He looked like as good or at times even more explosive than Kenny Pickett at times. Like, I think that he proved himself that he will be on a 53-man roster to start the regular season of 2026. Whether that be with the Panthers or someone else, that remains to be seen, and that's kind of the conversation. But I think he did enough. So I guess my question to you is, at this moment, Sky, and I know it's still early, do you see the Panthers keeping 3 quarterbacks on their roster, because I can see it going either way. I can see them deciding ultimately, we're going to keep 2 and because we have so much depth needs elsewhere. But I also see them being like, hey, we've developed this quarterback all offseason. Let's just and we've put this really good stuff on him on tape already. Someone else is going to benefit from him. I can also see them keeping 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah. I think it really has to do with a lot of the other positions and who's hurt and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They'll keep 3, but the third one may well be on the practice squad. And I kind of think that's really where Haynes King may belong. As you say, he would have to clear waivers.
Mm-hmm.
And Trask, who they now have in and who will play, probably some on Saturday against Buffalo. Although they're going to play the starters, right? They're going to play the starters against Buffalo. That's going to be fun for how many snaps? Like
10 to 20 Bryce Young snaps,
Yeah, and so that'll probably be everybody, right? The defense. And so the whole first quarter, don't miss the first. And that's a weird 1 p.m. start. A 1 p.m. start for a preseason game is very unusual. They're almost always at night. But in this case, it's in Buffalo's new stadium, 1 p.m. You're going, right? So we're going to we'll have great coverage of that. But of course, no Haynes King. So I don't know. If I was going to have to guess, I'd probably say they're only going to keep 2.
Okay.
On the active roster.
And I think that probably makes sense. Maybe I'm just getting a little too fired up over Haynes King, but in comparison to the rest of Twitter after that game, like I'm not even lukewarm.
Yeah. They were ready to start.
I saw some people saying like, start him over Bryce. Haynes King can make this throw over Bryce, and I was just, Bryce can't. I'm like, I don't. No. Okay, another important conversation to have about the Hall of Fame game, I think. The Jimmy Horn Jr. conversation. We talked about this. We've talked about this, Mike and I, for most of training camp. This wide receiver room is really deep. If the Panthers do elect to keep 3 quarterbacks, or if they elect to keep 5 tight ends, because Felipe Franks has been doing well, whatever the case may be, they might not have room for 7 wide receivers. And yes, Chris Brazzell went down with a season-ending injury, but the room is still pretty stacked. Jimmy Horn Jr. was on the field for the last play of the Hall of Fame game, which is not good if you're trying to make an active roster. He is not the first guy who's returning punts. He is not the first guy who's returning kicks. I think he is super fast, super explosive, pretty sure-handed. His frame isn't Teteroa McMillan's, which is obviously working against him, blah, blah, blah. But, if the Panthers are only going to keep 6 wide receivers, you got Teteroa McMillan, Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette, Bryson Tremaine for special teams, probably this guy Jasim Reed, who has had a baller camp. So that's 5. And then it's John Mechie versus Jimmy Horn Jr. And then if they choose, then there's some other possibilities as well. But John Mechie was on the field with that second group, was targeted, and then left the game, and he wasn't on the field. So this offense, or this coaching staff, clearly values John Mechie over Jimmy Horn Jr. as it stands right now. I don't know, man. I think that he deserves to make the 53-man roster just based off of his physical abilities and his speed. And it's hard to get rid of speed like that, but
very hard.
I mean, do you have any opinions about how the Panthers should handle this Jimmy Horn situation? Or
I think you're going to have to keep Jimmy Horn.
Oh,
probably.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, I know he's not had that great of a training camp or anything, but without Brazzell, that taking the top off the defense, as you say, that is not something you can teach.
You need some speed. You really do.
And, but as, Canales made the point the other day, really only 3 receivers play the entire game, other than, 10 snaps maybe. And those 10 snaps at this point, maybe they're going to Bryson Tremaine because he's so good on special teams. And so maybe Jimmy Horn's not getting on the field anyway. Yeah. But nevertheless, Jimmy Horn, it feels to me like they'll give it one more year and have a couple of wide receivers on practice squad. But I don't know. I think Jimmy, that's the kind of thing that'll be decided in the next three preseason games. We'll get sort of an answer on that. And of course, people could always get hurt. We've already seen that
a lot can
once
happen.
or twice. A lot can happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right. Does that cover kind of everything you want to talk about the Hall of Fame game? You want to talk about how bad the defense was or anything like that?
Defense was rough. I think it was, but again, they were all over there. And I thought one thing that was interesting was Princely played.
Oh, yes.
Remember, because he said he wanted to be on the sideline in a jumpsuit, and he was not. They put Princely right in the game, and he played and was unremarkable. But I didn't think, I don't know why that happened, but it did happen because most of the first and second stringers were very much in warm-up suits over there on the sideline. Hard to tell a lot. I think we'll know a lot more in this Buffalo game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really glad you're going to be there because this is, the first indication we'll get of what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Buffalo is a very worthy opponent, and if they're playing most teams do on this weekend, they play some guys. So if they're playing their first string defense, I hope they are. We'll see a little bit more because I've been super high on what Bryce has done so far in training camp. I've seen
$200 million man, according to Scott Fowler.
Yeah, that's right. I think he's playing this right now the way he's playing that he's just you're gonna have to pay him. But we can see, right?
Yeah, I know.
We'll see when they play that Bears game September 13th, and he gets totally outplayed by Caleb Williams or something. We could maybe be having a different conversation. But right now, this is the best I've seen him look. And so I want to see it happen when it's not touch football for him. I want to see it happening when they're tackling him.
Scott, I love that you have all these qualified takes. This is not what my normal partner would do.
Qualification. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm not a hot take guy. I've learned in 32 years of this that you're oftentimes going back the very next week and offering the other side of the hot take.
Yeah, I know.
I just don't do that.
No, and it's good. It's good. I will say you did say, I'm glad you brought up Princely because you did say that Princely probably has the most untapped potential. What was the phrase that you said? The most potential on this team?
Well, let's see. Actually, I think that Princely would definitely be in that. Yeah, that's right. I did say that exact phrase.
Untapped? Okay.
Yeah, Princely to me is like, he only had a sack and a half last year, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he was really outplayed by Scorton.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very similar, came on the same day, Scorton in the second round, Princely in the third. So Princely, he's got a big opportunity. He needs to take care of it. And that's a big ask. Because that pass rush is still, to me, the pass rush and the offensive line are still the most, problematic areas, the iffy areas, I should say. We don't know if they're problematic yet, but they're iffy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to talk about that offensive line forever until, September, probably until October, and whenever Taylor Moton and Ike Ekwonu get back into play. All right, Scott, you want to talk about your trip to Canton, Hall of Fame inductions, Luke Kuechly, all that stuff?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, it was great. As I said, I've been there before, but it's been 31 years. So I would recommend to any football fan listening out there to go to Canton at some point. I mean, it is the birthplace of pro football. The Hall of Fame is sweet. I mean, there is a lot of stuff, no matter who you're a fan of, Panthers or any other team, there is something for you in there. And as a kind of a historian, amateur historian, I really enjoyed going through that. You could get in free with the media pass, and so I went like 3 or 4 times just for an hour or so each time.
Wait, that's so funny. I didn't
to a
know
different
that.
little place. Oh yeah, because we were right next door to it. So I'd just pop in there and be like, I didn't see very much of the room with all the busts. I want to go in there real quick.
Yeah.
I'd be in there 45 minutes, and then,
You popped in there 3 to 4 times.
yeah, one time I have
Scott,
to say it
that's
was
so
only
nerdy.
one was only
That's
the merchandise tent, but nevertheless, yes, I went in there. A total of probably 3 hours in there, but it was structured a little weirdly. But yeah, Hall of Fame was big time. I would recommend it to people. And then it had been the first time in a long time I'd been to the Enshrinement Day, which was Saturday. So this is 2 days after the Hall of Fame. And so I'm going to queue up 3 different clips for you guys because I think you'll like this. I'm sure some of you watched this. Maybe you watched Luke's, but maybe you didn't watch the other ones. These are short, so don't worry. But I wanted to talk a little bit. I have us both react a little bit about each of them. One's from Luke on his speech. One is from Adam Vinatieri, who I would not have thought I was going to clip a little comment from, but he was like a night at the Improv up at his. I've never heard a Hall of Fame speech quite like that. And one was kind of heart-wrenching, and it was from Roger Craig, who was there were 4 players that were getting in their first or second year that were very, relatively young guys between 35 and, in their 40s. And then Roger Craig, who was older and had been waiting for a long time and has now some, issues. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start with, I'm going to start with playing you Luke, and this just gives you a little 30-second snippet of what Luke's speech was like.
It's not one specific game or one specific play. It's the locker room, which I feel like I have again with you guys up here. It's the conversations that have nothing to do with sports. It's celebrating together after wins and hurting together after losses. There's no way to measure what the game of football has given to me, the joy it's provided, and more than anything, the people that I've been so blessed to be around as a result of this game.
So,
yep.
What was your reaction to that one?
I mean, it's just very Luke Kuechly. It just seems like it's very Luke Kuechly.
It is exact Luke Kuechly.
Yeah. The thing, and I don't know how to feel about moments like this, because you get to this stage because you're obsessed with this one game. You get to the stage because you are working tirelessly and sacrificing a lot and devoting so much of your life to this at the expense of other parts of your life in many ways. And I'm not talking about medically. I'm talking about just like, spend time with your family or your girlfriend or whatever the case may be. But then at the end, once you hit the end, all you want to do is talk about the relationships you made. You don't want to talk about the film you watched and the football
or the great play you made,
or
whatever.
And I always find that so fascinating. Like everyone's always telling you to smell the roses, but they're telling you that at the end when they might regret not smelling the roses along the way. I'm not saying that Luke did so in a regretful tone at all, but like for someone who is so devoted to like decomposing an offensive scheme and figuring out exactly what the quarterback's looking at, exactly what the quarterback's going to do, like for him to reflect on it and be like, my favorite time was messing with Cam Newton in the locker room. I just think it just reminds us all that like no matter what we do, you got to appreciate the smallest moments, because those are the things that are going to stick with you.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I don't mean to turn this into like this meta philosophical conversation about life, but like that's where my mind went.
His he spoke for 15 minutes. He told me beforehand that they had told them to limit it to 8 to 12. So he did not hit his mark, but none of them did. They all spoke for more than 12 minutes, but basically, and that part was a little bit of an exception, but like at least 11 of the 12 minutes were a long Luke Kuechly thank you to a whole lot of people, dozens of people, from the cafeteria and security guys to the media guys to the
PR staff.
To the PR staff. He just, all of his teammates, every coach he'd ever had. I mean, it was cool.
Yeah.
And that is Luke. I thought it was very authentic. It was solid. It will not be memorable beyond Panthers fans. He's ended it with keep pounding, and that's cool for Panthers fans especially. It will not be as remembered as these next 2 little clips I'm going to play you, which were the ones who made more of national headlines. This is from Adam Vinatieri. Now, remember, he played for both New England and then Indianapolis, beat the Panthers in Super Bowl 38 in a great Super Bowl that's, went 32-29, and he beat him at the end with like a 41-yard field goal. But then had another great career in Indianapolis. So you can tell from this clip, I think, that his relationship with Bill Belichick is complicated probably. So here we go. This was Vinatieri.
Unfortunately, Bill couldn't make it here today. There's a lot going on at UNC right now. He may be on a recruiting trip right now looking for the next Lawrence Taylor. I thought it was because training camp had already started. But in truth, it's because he's judging his girlfriend's cheerleading competition.
So that's the biggest laugh line of the day. That was it really, if you were inside the stadium when he said it, I mean, it was.
I mean, Scott,
so unexpected.
Don't you just love it when your alma mater and your state is a punchline to a joke like that? Don't you just love that?
Yeah. Yeah, I was waiting for Luke. Vinatieri was second, so I was kind of just half listening.
Yeah.
And then he mentioned Belichick, and my ears perked up, and then he said that. So, and now he said some nice things, too. That was not just that, but he did. I mean, it was a roast.
I know.
And Belichick wasn't there. And that's partly because Belichick should have been in this class of 26 and was not voted in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he should make it next year in 2027.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why he didn't make it the first time, other than he's just a controversial figure and Deflategate and stuff.
Well, I mean, not to relitigate something that happened months and months ago, but the voting process is a bit strange, particularly because some of the candidates are grouped together in ways that are difficult. Like, for instance, this Kansas City Star columnist, who is also a Pro Football Hall of Fame voter, voted for two guys, not Bill Belichick, because those two guys probably won't show up on the ballot anytime soon.
They were waiting
deserving.
longer,
right? And so there are situations like that. Still, notwithstanding, Bill Belichick should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's insane. He's not. I mean, I don't want to get too Carolina messy here, as in the Carolina Tar Heels messy here, but the situation in North Carolina right now is a mess, as Adam Vinatieri kind of alluded to. The fact that he brought it up on a Pro Football Hall of Fame stage is interesting, because it's supposed to be like this, this sacred space. A part of your initiation into the Pro Football Hall of Fame is you're not supposed to talk. You're supposed to just listen to other people in the Pro Football Hall of Fame talk for you, and blah blah blah. And so it's very how you say. I'm just, the word sacred just keeps coming up, and then you kind of just hop on the stage and you say that about your coach. I mean, I don't know. I think it is revealing as to how Bill Belichick is kind of viewed right now. I don't want to speak too out of school, because I'm not covering Carolina every day, as in I'm not covering the Tar Heels every day. But I don't know. Just hearing that is just like, oh, okay, great. Like, there is no venue in which the University of North Carolina cannot be made fun of at this point. So, anyway, all right, let's move on.
All right, one more. And this was sort of sad, but Roger Craig, who, if you haven't been following football forever, was Christian McCaffrey kind of before McCaffrey existed. Roger Craig was the first guy to ever catch 1,000 yards of passes as well as run for 1,000 yards. He was part of those great San Francisco 49ers teams, and he waited a long time to make the Hall of Fame, did not make it right away. So he did not give a live speech. Instead, he taped one, and you understood after a while, because he reveals during the speech that he has been diagnosed with vascular dementia, early stages. But nevertheless, you can hear in his voice he's doing fine, but he's a little bit halting speech, and so he wanted to tape it to just get it just right. So you can hear this. This is Roger Craig, about a 45-second clip.
Today, there's another chapter I want to share. I've been diagnosed with vascular dementia that my doctors believe may be related, at least in part, to the concussions I experienced during my career. The changes were gradual. At first, they were easy to dismiss as normal aging. Over time, my family noticed it too, and ultimately led us to seek answers from my doctor. Two things can be true. Football gave me opportunities beyond anything I could imagine. It helped shape the man I became. At the same time, we know more today about brain health than when I played. And I hope sharing my story encourages people to pay attention to their health and seek help when something doesn't feel right.
So that was another interesting speech at something celebrating the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Here's one of your heroes who has dementia and is announcing it in his speech. And so it was, kind of heart-wrenching he was still able to go through everything. I saw him walking at one point. He was going down some stairs. He had his hand on Luke's shoulder. Luke was helping him down some stairs. But he seemed to be moving fine if it wasn't stairs, and was maybe the most exuberant of all the Hall of Famers that were there. I mean, he was so happy to be in. So it was cool.
Yeah.
But again, this is, it kind of reminded me of Luke retired at age 28. Luke retired at age 28. That is amazing. Luke is only 35 right now. He is the second youngest Hall of Famer ever behind Gale Sayers. And that's because he retired at 28. And, the guy could have been probably still playing now if not for the series of injuries he had, which included multiple concussions.
Yeah.
So Luke would not ever say this, I don't think, but certainly that was a part of the reasoning behind his early retirement. And here was a guy, Roger Craig, who went through it all in a much less safe time when football was, and then that happens.
It's a reminder that, and I know concussions in football got linked together around when did that really start to take off? 2013,
a decade
2014,
ago or maybe, yeah.
And it was then so many. I remember when UNC football coach Larry Fedora said that the game of football is under attack right now because of the concussion research, and it caused all of these like controversial moments. Dang, UNC football coaches are getting a lot of spotlight on this podcast
oddly,
today.
yes.
But like, I just remember that, and it's not like the game of football has made many strides, and technology, whether it be the helmets and also changing the rules, has made the game safer. At the same time, it's still a violent game, and it's something that shouldn't really be forgotten. I mean, Panthers fans really don't have to think that far back to remember another linebacker kind of having his career at least put on hold at the moment with Josie Jewell, because Josie was a starting Carolina Panthers inside linebacker, and he was released on the first day or prior to training camp 2025 because he couldn't recover from his brain injury.
Not only that, their current GM, Dan Morgan's, his career was cut short because of concussions.
So this is a very real thing present in today's game of football. And it, as you said, it's heartbreaking, but it's also good to kind of put back in the spotlight.
I was glad Roger Craig did this. I did. I thought it was brave, and it was a way to get the message out, and he didn't do it. And he said that thing about two things can be true. Football gave him the best opportunities of his life, but it's also taken some of his life away now. Mm-hmm. So it's something every parent who's listening to this thinks about when your kid says they want to play football. And whether they should be playing flag or whether they should be playing tackle and so on and so forth. But anyway, overall trip was really eye-opening, and it was Panthers got a dramatic win. Luke Kuechly went in and did just the sort of things you'd think Luke Kuechly would do. A lot of Luke chants in the stands. A lot of Roaring Riot people were out there, and a lot of people wearing number 59. So. Good weekend, and now, looking ahead to Buffalo, I guess. I mean, what are you expecting?
I mean, we got starters playing in the game. I would love to see who is getting those first couple reps. I mean, not to get too nerdy here, but first couple reps at the starting position at linebacker. Dave Canales on Monday, and we're recording this on a Monday, so Dave Canales today did confirm that there is an inside linebacker competition between Claudin Cherlis and Trevin Wallace. Obviously, Devin Lloyd, the free agent signing that the Panthers brought on in March, is going to start. He is expected to be a Pro Bowler, if not All-Pro guy this year. At least they're paying him like it. So he'll start. But then the second inside linebacker spot is does Trevin Wallace have the edge right now? Does Claudin Cherlis have the edge right now? And then also it's going to be a good time to check in on certain injured players, some players who are like practicing right now but not quite ready for a game. Are they going to put them out there? Some guys that come to mind, Xavier Legette, he had a really scary fall last week. It looks like he's probably going to play, but that would be interesting to see if that wide receiver will be out there. Will Derek Brown be out there? He's missed the past couple of practices with knee soreness. So there's just like, that's kind of what I'm looking at. And then, of course, does Bryce Young play well? It is so hard to overstate that this season matters so much to Bryce Young and the future of this Panthers franchise. And so any data point we can collect on if Bryce is truly a $200 million man, the better. So I'm going to be looking for that. Are you watching anything in particular? Or are you, I know that you're a swing tackle guy, so I know you're going to be looking at that.
If I never hear the word swing tackle again, I will be happy. Happy man.
Mike, we love you, bro.
No, yeah, we do. We will miss Mike K. He was a great teammate for us. I think we would all agree on that. By the way, Alex, your newsletter, I really do enjoy it. And are you going to be continuing your newsletters, and when?
You know it, every Monday morning, and once the regular season comes, every Saturday morning. And before we get it, I appreciate you doing that shout out, because I think this is kind of your way of reminding me that I needed to prompt you about something special that you got going on before we get out of here. So Scott, anything else before I hit this outro?
The last thing I will mention is that Sports Legends of the Carolinas, which is my long-form interview series on multiple sports, but it does include a number of Panthers over the course of the time we've done it. It took a little hiatus, and now it is back, and we have started Season 4 this week. By the time you listen to this, the first episode will have dropped. It is Antoine Jameson, the former UNC and NBA basketball star, talking about Michael Jordan, Dean Smith, and his extensive role in helping hire new basketball coach Michael Malone. So look for that. Sports Legends of the Carolinas. It's in podcast form. It's on our YouTube channel on charlotteobserver.com, and, of course, online as well.
Hey, that sounds great. We good to go?
We're good to go.
And here we go. Thanks, as always, for listening to our pontifications on all things Panthers with Scott Fowler and myself and our wonderful producer, Zach Dennis. Please subscribe and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts by searching Processing Blue. And if you watch us on YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to get notified whenever new episodes drop. And finally, please be sure to stick to charlotteobserver.com for all of your Panthers needs. Scott, stay humble, stay creative, and keep processing.